Hello, everyone, and welcome to the newest episode of Adam's TV podcast, where we're breaking down American Idol. We're going to be talking about week 4, which just happened this past week. I'm your host for the episode. My name is Adam Samuel, and today I am joined by my always amazing host, Eric. Eric, how you doing?
Doing well, everyone. And I can say that because we're getting some more subscribers, so yay. Let's see. I thought this was a great week, honestly. I'm genuinely excited for the rest of the season after seeing this week.
I agree. I wasn't that excited, but these 2 episodes kind of it got me more into it. Like I'm feeling the season a bit more. There's a few contestants I'm really rooting for.
Same here.
Some new frontrunners kind of emerged that I didn't really expect. We'll touch on it all. But just before we get into it, I just want to set the scene. We're going to be going through the first 2 episodes. We'll break down just about everything that happened. We'll be going quickly through some things more than others. We will be talking on spoilers at the end. We will give you your spoiler warning. Eric actually, I think, made a special sign to
don't ruin it by telling people that there's
I'm sorry.
Sign.
Forget
it's not a great sign, but it's a sign regardless.
So anyway, we're going to go through the episode, talk about our favorites, and before we start, grade the episodes. What'd you think? What'd you think?
Genuinely, I'd give them both at least a B+, A-.
I agree. I think it was a very strong week. Something I've been noticing a lot, just watching the articles from all these different news outlets. A lot of people are singing their praises for Katy Perry as a judge. I wanted to ask, do you agree with those ideas?
People liking her as a judge?
Yeah.
Well, from what little I've watched, because I fast forward through some of the judging, I like her a lot. So I think she's a definite step over J-Lo, at the very least.
Not that hard to be a step up over J-Lo.
Oh, yeah. You said it, so I don't have to. But
okay, so again, it's week 4. We're going to start with the first episode, which was episode 7. We open and we are still in Hollywood week. This is we go through quite a bit of a transition from Hollywood week to our top 24, and the episode actually starts out very comically with a April Fool's freak out. Not a freak out. What's the word?
Fake out.
A fake out, where it's Chris Harrison from The Bachelor. He comes on and he pretends that this is his show, but it's really not. It's this very cute little moment. Do you like these kind of moments where they're like breaking the fourth wall a little bit?
In moderation.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. I don't like a ton of them, but 1 or 2 of these is fine.
Okay, so after we get the April Fools, we are back in Hollywood week. This episode, it was 2 hours long, and it talks about the 3rd round, which is always the most critical round of Hollywood week, as every 3rd round of anything that has 3 rounds is. So how it goes is, this is the first time the contestants perform solo with a band. They come on stage, they do their performance, they sing. The judges give no critiques, and then they walk away off stage.
I called BS on the no critiques because they stood up for some people.
Well, I'm just going off of what they were kind of.
That's what they said, but they didn't follow what they said. Okay.
Yeah. So then the contestants, they get sent backstage. They go into their assigned rooms 1, 2, 3. And then essentially the rooms of doom, which it's very easy to tell which room is going through and which isn't every single time.
Of course. So why they keep doing it's beyond me.
I know. I feel like they should just do another round of lines of 10. But regardless, that's how the night's going to go. So we're going to touch on our first contestant, Gabby Barrett. She performs Ain't No Way by Aretha Franklin. What'd you think about her?
I liked it a lot. Her voice, particularly when she goes for the high notes, is slightly piercing, but I think it's in a good way. And I don't know why I totally forgot about her before this performance. That's my opinion.
I mean, just for me, I see so much like hype for this girl. Like there were so many people who were like hyping her up as this really great singer. And I think she's definitely got talent. I don't know that she lives up to the hype, but I don't like being harsh or like really critical, but I feel like with every performance, I slowly get off her boat a little more, which is really sad because I do think she is really talented. I just feel like she's boxing her in by going country. She's boxing herself in by going in this country route. I feel like she is someone who could be so versatile. And maybe once the show ends, I say, if you want to do country, go country all you want. But for the American Idol show, if you're just going to box yourself into the country bracket, first of all, I think you'll lose to Caleb, who is another country artist who is pretty dominant in the show. And I don't see it working out for her that long. Do you see what I'm saying a little bit?
Totally get it.
Well, anyway, she dedicates her song to her father. She gets a standing ovation, and people again are really hyping this girl up. But I don't know. Any final thoughts on her?
I'm not blown away. It was good, but
Yeah, I agree. So we move on to our next contestant. It's Marcia Donaldson. He performs "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman," except it's not woman. He says it's man, which is just a weird song choice. I feel like
the problem is I'm fine changing the gender in certain songs, but that song is just so iconic the way I don't know. I didn't love it. It wasn't because of the lyric change that I didn't love it. It was because I just didn't think there was a stellar performance. That song has been nailed on the show by Kelly Clarkson. That's her song. That was her moment, and Marcia didn't live up to that.
I just feel like, first of all, it ended on like this really, really awkward and weird high note. Did you catch that? Like
I did not.
Well, it was very, the word that I kept thinking was, this is a very strange performance. It just, strange is the word, but it was well sung, but it was just still like these
with
choices.
That song, Kelly had such a moment with that song, but you can't just sing it okay on the show. You can't. So you have to absolutely destroy it, or else you didn't live up to the song.
Okay. What do you think about him as a contestant? I mean, he's been shown very dominantly on these episodes. What did you think about him as his winnability?
He's not going to win.
He's not going to win?
End of story.
Okay. So anyway, the judges were pretty strong on him, and it moves us on to our next contestant. It's Effie Pissarro, who's actually a favorite of mine this season. She performs "Alone by Heart," and some people were saying this performance was a little bit screamy. I actually wasn't seeing that. I really like this performance. I thought it was strong, but I do understand that like the screamy, like it's a little bit too much. She's kind of giving like 1,000%, and she kind of needs to give a little less. What do you think about Effie and this performance?
She's great, but again, the problem with song choice, because Alice and Karen Underwood both had moments with this song. Effie didn't live up to them. She's still good, but I wasn't blown away.
I like her. Like, she seems like very genuine.
I like her, but I'm not blown away.
Okay.
I like most of the contestants this year, but I'm harsh because a lot of them are so good that you kind of have to pick like which ones are actually have a shot. So,
if you were a judge and you're Katy Perry or Luke Bryan or Lionel Richie, does she go through? Does she go into the room that advances?
At this point, yes. Yeah. Not how much longer she'd go through, but
anyway, so we move on to our next contestant. It's Amelia Harris, and she performs "Feel It Still." And the most jarring part about this performance didn't even happen in the performance. It was in her intro package, and you see her sitting next to Taylor John Williams, who is a finalist or he got like to the top 8 or something on The Voice, and he's just sitting there talking to her, and he's given no screen time. He's just there sitting talking to her, and it's funny because it turns out they're actually dating from the show, which for me is just insane and also really cool. What do you think about that? You have no idea who he is, right?
I didn't watch The Voice that season, so no, I don't know who he is. But
well, he's actually a pretty good singer. Okay. I like a bunch of his performances on that show. But that was the thing that stood out to me the most. I mean, Amelia, I have a lot of like issues with her as a contestant. I mean, her I'm thinking, what's the word? Her road that she wants to go down is jazz. And I feel like she's picking songs that don't really fit into the jazz segment, which I kind of understand because for this round, you kind of have a very small list of songs to perform off of. But it's just,
I think, honestly, the song choice, even with the small list, was wrong. It wasn't a good song choice for her. She's good, but the song choice was problematic.
I can appreciate that she was kind of taking a risk here because it was a different
definitely
rendition.
a risk, but it didn't pay off.
So I
don't think.
I always appreciate whenever a contestant is willing to take a risk on these shows, because at least, even if you go home, at least you're doing something different. At least you're trying. And I feel like that's what she was doing. But,
Yeah.
any final thoughts on her?
Nope.
We'll be touching on her probably more later on in the show. But we move on to our next contestant. This contestant is amazing, and I always get his last name wrong. So I'm going to hand it over to you. What's his name?
Phoner, I think.
Okay, so it's Kate Phoner.
That's how I'm going to pronounce it until I'm told otherwise. I still don't know why his audition wasn't shown. Clearly it wasn't good or something. I don't know. Whatever it was, I know that he's now in my top 3 overall of all the contestants. And he's probably at least my first or second favorite guy this season. I just love the tone of his voice. I love the style of performing. Wasn't perfect, but he's the type of singer I usually get behind. So
something that they said in his intro package that really stood out to me was they said, I think Ryan Seacrest said something along the lines of, he's our resident rock star. And as soon as I heard that, like, I get what they're doing with him. He's going to be the rocker contestant of the season.
Well, that was a given.
Yeah, he is. That's his angle. And I don't think there's any other male rock singers this season, right?
There are not.
So he kind of has that entire lane to himself, which I think is a little indicative of how his run is going to go, because he is unchallenged in that angle. And I feel that is a huge advantage. Imagine being the only pop singer in this round. Like, it's just just flip that around, and it's like the producers or someone on the show is clearly banking on him filling that role on the show. And the one thing that again stood out to me is it's Feel It Still Again. Like, these songs are just getting repeated. That happens a lot. The songs just go back and forth.
The difference was the songs made sense for him. He made it work. Amelia didn't.
The thing is I was never looking at him like in this way, but I can now start to see him being a winner contender this season. I feel like he's checking off all the boxes for me of what a winner on the show looks like. Not what they look like, but like their entire package of what they do. And the more I see of him, the more I'm starting to think this guy could be a winner contender. Do you agree?
I agree. At least I hope. I hope you're right, because again, he's in my top 3 contestants for this season. So hopefully he goes far.
I would be fine with him going far. I don't.
You're not on board from winning yet.
I don't know. I feel like he could win. I want to see a little bit more.
Oh, I want to see more of everybody before I actually say who should win.
Yeah,
because it's kind of unfair to say like, oh, imagine if from the top 24 we had to vote once and pick the winner. That would be horrible.
It
wouldn't
could
be
happen.
that different from what happens on America's Got Talent. But
anyway, he's definitely a standout. Someone who should be watched. He could win. But moving on to our next contestant, we have Harper Grace, who was shown quite a bit this season. I think she is the girl. If I remember correctly, she's the girl who messed up, who had the bad performance of the national anthem.
I think so.
Yeah, I remember liking her a lot from her audition, and here she sings an original song. It's called "Rest in Peace," and I actually kind of liked it. I was like, "Yeah, you're kind of good." What do you think?
She's good. I like the song a lot, but for some reason, I wasn't blown away, and I can't figure out why.
I totally get that. I think she's pretty good. I don't think she's amazing. I don't think she's a threat, but like, she's above average.
Good for her.
Anyway, there's not much else to really talk about, but we're going to move on to the next 2 contestants. We're shown in kind of a package together. It's Noah Davis.
Let me interrupt for a second. Putting Katy with Noah makes a lot more sense than putting her with the other person from the first episode.
I understand that, because in their intro package, we get Noah and Katy, and they're shown at the same time. And Noah is talking about how he's so very tired, and Katy is like full of energy, and she's like very happy. She's talking about how she's so excited to be there. I got to tell you, I like Katy so much better than Noah of these 2.
Well, totally, obviously.
I have on my notes. She's like just the right amount of awkwardness to be like relatable on the show. Like, she's not.
Oh, I love her personality. I love her.
She doesn't come across as fake, is what I keep thinking.
Oh,
it's
definitely
like
not. If she someone who who wanted to be fake, wanted to actually be rehearsed, wouldn't say things like she says, like in the camera, like, "Oh, I covered up my screw up." No one admits that on Idol unless they're unrehearsed and not and real. So
The thing is I really like Katy. I will say, like, I will throw it out there. She's in my top 5 favorite contestants this
mine
season.
too.
But I feel like she's very genuine and very good. But I feel I'm gonna say this again for another contestant later on. But I feel like as good as she is, there is a script that can easily be flipped on her. That
Oh, totally.
she's awkward and it's lovable and it's fun now, but should maybe the producers or someone see her as a threat to win, they can easily.
She ain't a threat to win. She's a threat to make the top 5.
I think she could make the top 5. I don't see her going further than 5, but I would be fine with her making top 5. I mean,
I'd be happy with that. But that's as far as I think she can go, considering the talent this year.
So going back to the performances, we have Noah is performing. He does Piece by Piece by Katy Perry.
Kelly Clarkson.
Kelly Clarkson. My bad. Thank you. People were liking him a lot on social media.
Were they?
What?
Were they?
I was seeing like a lot of like, it's weird. I've actually been hearing people saying like wig, like randomly, like as a reference to his audition. Like it seems a little.
Yeah, honestly, that performance wasn't good enough. It was a horrible song choice for him.
I wrote down, I don't really see the hype. I think he's got a good voice. He seems like a very nice person. I just don't think his talent is good enough to
that song was not the song to choose because the comparison. I mean, Kelly on the last season of Idol actually sang that song as her last performance ever on American Idol, and no comparison, Kelly is going to beat him. So again, horrible song choice.
Well, moving on, we get Noah and then we get Katy, and Katy does an original song. And I mean, if you just look at Katy, and I really enjoy Katy, but you take away her personality and just all you see is her walking on stage singing her song. I think she's a good singer. I don't want to like sound harsh or anything. I think she's a really good singer. I think what I'm trying to say is I think her personality and her story is like 50% of her package, which is good for these early rounds. But I feel like when you get to the live rounds, it's going to be a lot more on just the singing. And I feel like she's good, but I feel like
her singing isn't her strong suit. I think she actually, as an artist, however, I think the singing plus the personality plus the songwriting makes her better. I actually like the song. I thought it was funny. It was just nice at the humor and the songwriting too.
I wrote down when I was watching Katy's performance, something that really stood out is like for these contestants, for what are the ingredients to make up the perfect American Idol contestant? And I was thinking, well, you have personality, which Katy has. You have
a lot of them have personality.
You have the winnability, which is something I feel like she's lacking a little bit. You have winnability. You have genuine talent, which she definitely has. It's not comparing to the other contestants. I don't think it's the best, but it's still pretty good. And then you have post-show talent, like post-show marketability is what I'm saying. And I feel like she, for me, only really gets 2 big checks on 2 of those marks. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Any other I like those. Do you think there were any other points of what makes up a great American Idol contestant?
I think the more succinct, the more clear way of putting that, honestly, in my view, would be you have to be able to sell records after a show. You have to have personality and have enough talent that people want to see you live and on concerts. And you need to be ready already.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So any other final thoughts on these 2? I mean,
nope.
All right, moving on. We get our next.
Plenty of time to talk about at least one of them for the rest of the season, I think. So.
Yeah, we'll get it more into that later. So our next duo is Brandon Elder and Dennis Lorenzo. I remember both of these 2 from their auditions, and they're both doing "Home" by Daughtry, which I never like when they
mix the 2 of them together. That was poorly edited in my view.
That was they were burying Brandon because I feel like if you had just watched Brandon's audition alone, I mean, like compared to some of the other singers who did struggle, like by putting these 2 together, you're highlighting so much more of their faults. And I feel like with other contestants, they kind of got a pass there. and I feel like that's something.
Brandon Elder came out the weaker of the two. Dennis, actually, I think the problem with Dennis and that song is that I think the song, maybe it's just because we're so used to Doctor singing it, kind of requires a bit more grit.
I agree. I have down that Brandon was shaky on certain parts. Dennis was strong, and I mean, going off what the producers are trying to go with, I mean, Dennis is the clear winner, which we'll be telling, I think, for later in the show. Mm-hmm. But coming up next is a contestant that I'm continuously she's slowly becoming one of my favorites, and it's a girl whose last name I keep getting wrong, but for the first time tonight, I'm gonna get right. It's Maddie Poppe. And I am slowly starting to see her as one of my favorites this season. Do you agree?
No.
No?
Honestly, no. I like her. She's good. I'm not blown away.
I
do like her, though. I do like her, but I'm not blown away.
I wrote down that her father, she has her backstory. Her father told her to do this original song. I feel like she reminds me of Amy Vachel from The Voice, who I know you don't know, but is another incredibly talented singer. The thing is about Maddie is her voice. It's a very delicate voice. It's a very quiet voice.
Yes.
And I feel like when you get to the Idol, I feel like I said this before, but when you get to the Idol stages, there are moments where some songs might be thrust upon you, and by thrust I mean forced upon you. And she might be the producers might try to get her to go bigger. And
she might have a girls just want to have fun moment like Joey Cook has.
Yeah. I wrote down I love her, but she can be very easily bust. Like with one bad song and she's straight to the bottom three. Like she's like up here, but like with one bad performance, it'll drop her all the way back down. Like she's slowly going up, and then she could get hit hard, which I really hope doesn't happen to her, because I'm really I really like her. I wrote down she's one performance away from being a total front runner, which I think could happen if she goes much further. Do you agree?
Sure. Not really, but
that's a no. Next is a contestant who I actually have a lot I want to talk about, but we'll try to get through her quickly. It's Michelle Susat. Susat is her name, I think. It's and she performs "I'm Coming Out" by Diana Ross. And I want to throw it over to you first. What do you think about her?
Her vocal struggles didn't show at all, honestly. I don't know what she was talking about with that. I liked it a lot better than her audition, I'll put it that way.
The thing that she's kind of painting herself as a fodder contestant. And I feel like if she was on, like, let's say this is The Voice and she's on my team, I want to like strip away the dancing, strip away like all the
do a ballad.
I want her to see like, I don't want to say, it's on the tip of my tongue, but like I don't want to say a Whitney Houston song.
Oh,
but like not there,
no, not
there.
that ballad. A modern contemporary ballad she needs to do.
Like you know what I'm thinking? Like a One Call Away by Charlie Puth.
Not that one either.
Not that one either. I'm doing a very good job of throwing these songs out, but
pick a ballad that's on the radio that doesn't suck and sing it. And
Piece by Piece by Kelly Clarkson.
No, again, never that one. Keep them coming. Let's see how many ballads you can name for her.
We're just gonna bounce them right back at me. So
we're gonna get to the asteroid song eventually on this list, aren't we?
No, we're not gonna get there. I will do many things on the show, but we're not going to the asteroid song. Okay. Okay.
There you go.
I'm surprised, honestly, that she's made it this far. Is what I'm trying to say.
Honestly, based on her raw talent, I think she has a lot of marketability if she picks the right songs, does the right things.
I just feel like she's going down a path that doesn't win American Idol. Is what I'm trying to say. She's not going to win.
At this point, she's not going to win. But
go on. I'm sorry.
But not everyone has. There aren't going to be 14 people who can actually win in the top 14 or in the top 24. So yeah.
I'm like, if you're not going to, because she like refuses to do a ballad in this show, and
I refuse. We don't know that yet. She'll
like,
do it eventually.
I guess producers just like love her energy. It was just what I'm saying.
Okay.
But moving on, we get our next contestant. It's Ron Boltanges. I don't really remember.
I don't know.
He performs "Home" by Philip Phillips. He has this backstory of where he has become the guardian of his brothers. And I have down that He seems like a very genuinely just a nice guy. He has a story where it's just one of total triumph, and I think he seems like a good guy. But judging him based on his talent alone, I think he's going to run into some trouble. Is what I'm trying to say.
He's not top 10 material. He's just not.
He's not top 10 material, but I feel like he's on the show to share his story.
Yeah,
and
pretty
which
much.
is good for him. I mean, it's good. I feel like this show will give him the exposure to do something in this area a little further, but I don't see him winning. I don't see him going.
Oh, if he wins, we're in trouble.
I remember his audition was just so rough that it stands out to me.
Bad. I was amazed he made it through his audition.
Yep. Any thoughts on his performance? Just him singing. What'd you think?
Better than his audition. Still not top 10 material. Okay.
All right, so we move on to our next contestant. It's Johnny Brenz. He's doing "I Lived by One Republic." What'd you think?
I wrote he's mediocre as hell.
You better not say that. He could end up winning the show.
Oh, don't go there.
He could win.
Oh, yeah. Oh, if he does, we're in trouble.
The thing is that I'm wondering is like, is he a Daniel CV contestant or is he a Trent Harmon? Is what I'm thinking.
Well, honestly, Daniel CV's had some success. So.
Well, I guess that's about. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he? You get what I'm saying? Like, is he the heartthrob contestant that's gonna peter out pretty quickly, or is he the chosen one who's gonna win the entire thing? Honestly, I feel he still has a chance. It still could go either way. I feel like once he gets to the live rounds, if he does start turning in really good performances, he could be a threat. But for this performance, there was a lot of straining in his when he walks off stage. He talks about like he was expecting to go home, which you know, a lot of people make it through these rounds that expect to be going home because they cut more people than I feel they expect to be cut.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I don't know, maybe like 17, 20 people get cut in this round and they expect it to be so much more. So there's like a lot more wiggle room. But any final thoughts on him?
Nope.
All right. So we move on to.
I'm going to have a piece of paper. I'm going to do the next thing.
All right. We have Crystal Alisea. She's doing Set Fire to the Rain by Adele. This song is. I was when she said that song, I was like, I haven't heard that song in so long. Like these Adele songs, they just kind of they come on the radio, they like have their success, and then they're never heard from again. Like I don't remember the last time I heard "Hello" on the radio, but like it was such a
5-minute song, so you're not gonna hear it that often on the radio anymore.
Anyway, in her intro pack, not in her intro package, but she was the contestant who last week she volunteered to be the one to be eliminated. And which is so funny because Katy, after her performance, she says that girl has no confidence. And I like looked at Katy Perry on my screen. I was like, because like yesterday she offered to go home because you like gave her an ultimatum for her teammates. And I was like, of course she's going to have no confidence. She's like, she reminds me of that Plankton meme, where it's Plankton and he says, I didn't expect to get this far. He just like has his hands like on over his like he's like this. So that's like I feel like that was kind of the gist that I was getting from her. I mean, good for her. She's a karaoke singer and she made it to the third round. But like that was what I kept feeling like during this performance.
My thing was she was all over the place, and for a song like this, she can't be all over the place. And I think she forgot the lyrics in the middle as well. So
yeah, that happens, but it's very forgivable. If you're going to forget your lyrics, forget them in Hollywood Week. Don't forget them in the live shows because the live shows, you're done. In Hollywood Week, there's some wiggle room, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Anyway, next up, we have Deontay Baker. He does Too Good at Goodbyes by Sam Smith. His intro package, he has a lot of energy. He thinks about people chanting his name. I wrote down it's a bit too much. What do you think?
He's cocky and he's got a great voice. But the cockiness isn't going to help.
Yeah, they kind of, when he leaves the stage, they have a segment kind of mocking him a little bit, which is something I never like when they do on the show.
Yeah.
They're like, he's talking about like, oh, the judges, they were like really into it. And you see them just like,
yeah,
like they're just not feeling it. But he's like, yeah, it was so good. They were loving the performance. Yeah. And there's just, so not a good sign for him, but, the performance, I mean, what do you think about the performance?
Again, he's got a great voice, but move on.
Anyway, we have our next contestant. It's Journey. She performs One Last Time by Ariana Grande, and focusing just on her talent and her. I don't like when it's so much about the story, but she has a really good voice.
I like her voice a lot. I do agree with Katie that it was probably the wrong song choice for her, but I do like her a lot, and I think she can go far.
If she's on your team, what's your advice to her? If this is the voice, you get to coach her, you get to pick her songs, you get to walk her through the show. What do you do for her?
Well, her problem is that she's slightly boring. My advice to her would be to grow a personality.
That's a little hard to do.
I know. But that was actually
You could go to Walmart and buy a personality. I hear they're on sale.
Oh, I love her voice, and I do like her I do like her offstage personality, but she needs to be more personable on stage.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Next up, we have Trevor Holmes. He's another contestant who's doing Home by Philip Phillips. They showed him really quickly. There's not really much to form an opinion on, but I don't really have many thoughts about him. Do you?
I have one thought. Ron did better than the song with Trevor, and neither of them did well.
Don't do Philip Phillips on the show, guys. There's like 2 songs from the Philip Phillips songbook to choose from, and it's just never a good idea. Pick something else.
Correct.
Next up is Maddie Zom, and she's performing Up to the Mountain. I wrote down that this was pretty good. What did you think?
Here's my issue. As we discussed earlier, we did our top 10 list of 8 performances. Crystal's performance of the song was, I think, either my number 5 or my number 6 performance all of season 7 through 15 of Idol. Maddie didn't match up.
You think? I feel like it's not fair always with like.
I know
if you're gonna go on.
The problem is, I would, if at all possible, I would pick a song that no one else would pick before. But what do you
I feel like there's a bracket of songs that are overdone and overperformed, and I feel like those should be off limits. But I feel like Up to the Mountain is not one of them. I feel like there
have been 3 really big notable performances of this song on that stage on Idol. Kelly Clarkson sang it on Idol Gives Back in season 6. And she nailed it. Sang the snot out of it. Crystal Bowersox has her winning single back in season 9.
Which she didn't win.
She didn't win, but if she... Fun story about that I'll tell later, but not today. Okay. I saw her in concert like last week, actually, and she was wonderful.
Did she do that song?
She did not do that song. I was sad.
Okay.
But what she did have was a You Should Have Won donation box.
Oh.
Or if you're going to go to her and say you should have won, you should give $1 and she'll donate all the junior diabetes fund or something.
That's cool.
It was hilarious. And I gave $2. But yeah, my point is, and then Craig Harrison also did that song in season 12. So I think when 3 people have done a song and done it really well, your time to skip that song is now.
But I feel like also, if you got to think about the list that these contestants are handed, I feel like that's also like, what I'm imagining is just knowing Idol. It's every single song that was performed on the show. Those are all the songs that you had to choose from. And I feel like
right, but pick a different one. There are other options.
I mean, what else? There's Set Fire to the Rain. There's One Last Time.
Honestly, those 2 would have been better, honestly, just because there's no comparison for those 2 that you're thinking of.
Okay. Anyway, speaking of Up to the Mountain, our next contestant, Shannon O'Hara, does the exact same song. What'd you think?
Shannon didn't match up either. That's all I wrote. Okay.
I feel her. I actually really like Shannon. I don't think this performance was the best, but like she's someone I could see myself rooting for her.
Okay.
Like with the right performance. I don't know if I don't really know what that performance would be. Like if she's on my team, I'm like, she needs like a plan of like something that she can do on the show. Like she needs, because kind of right now she just kind of fades into the background and she's missing something that will really make her stand out.
Okay.
All right, so moving on. Did you have anything else you want to say?
No,
I'm sorry. All right, moving on. We have Genevieve Linkowski. She's doing "Praying" by Kesha. The one thing that I kept noticing about this performance was she was doing a lot with her hand, and it was very distracting. What do you think?
I liked the song choice. At the risk of being repetitive, she's good but not stellar.
I agree. I remember like feeling very high on her. Like I remember saying like she has potential, and for me, she's not living up to the potential. Like she should be like higher up than what she's at, and I feel like I don't know. I don't see her. I feel like she needs a bit more time. Do you agree? I feel like
Sure.
she's one of the contestants I would like to see come back if she.
Sure.
Anyway, we move on to our next contestant. It's Garrett Jacobs. He's performing "Wicked Game" by Chris Isaac. What'd you think?
Well, 3 American Idols have released studio covers of this song. David Cook put on his album Digital Vein, which was awesome. His cover, it was great. Philip Phillips covered it on his first album. Chris Allen covered it on an acoustic EP. So a lot of the songs got a lot of history on the show. Garrett was just okay.
You know, you say that, but he's another, in my opinion, fitting of the American Idol tradition. He is one of the 3 possible, like, really highlighted contestants this season. And I mean,
I know he is, and it's good. I really, my hope is that we get a great winner, because there are plenty of great possible winners, and then there are all the predictable winners, and Garrett falls under the predictable winners.
I know. I feel like there's some other WGs who are better than him, but we'll move on to Brittany Holmes. She does "Dive" by Ed Sheeran. She was the contestant who was cut in the auditions, and she gets brought back.
They did show her back, being brought back finally.
Yeah, which
they showed a show about last week, but still.
Yeah, she's pretty good. I was watching this. I was like, why did she get cut in the auditions? And that's the same thought that I have. I'm also just a little bit impressed that she made it this far.
Too. She's good, but she kind of lacks personality, and she's far from the best girl. So.
Yeah, I agree. We'll be talking about her a little bit more, I feel. But moving on to the next contestant, unless you have any final thoughts you want to share. Nope. We have Gabby Jones. She's doing "A Million Reasons" by Lady Gaga. Her father, her backstory is her father gave her 30 days to make her dream happen, which is
time's run out.
I always say, don't put all your eggs on American Idol, because you're just going to be very disappointed. And yeah, what do you think?
That was rough. That was a rough one.
Yeah, I feel a little bit bad for her, but
I do too. But it was rough. It was a rough performance.
I feel like if she's somehow watching this, because God knows everyone's watching this, I feel that do what your father says. I feel
go to school and then maybe be a background singer.
Go for YouTube. I feel YouTube is always such a great opportunity, and I feel like you don't need to be pursuing your dream. You could be doing the smarter thing, which is like going to school, getting your thing, and then pursuing it on YouTube. And I feel like that's my advice to her. But anyway, we move on to our next contestant. It's Thaddeus Johnson. He's doing right. What? No spoilers. We're not up to spoilers yet. He performs "Rise" by Katy Perry. What'd you think?
#robbed. Best voice of his type this season. I liked it a lot.
I was feeling it too. He actually gets a standing ovation from Katy Perry. I don't understand what happened, but we'll talk about that later.
We're gonna go through for this episode. We already know that he didn't make it. So
that is no, he made it to the top 50.
Oh, the top 50. Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, he did. Right.
He had the walk. Anyway,
we'll get there.
We'll get there. All in due time. I thought this was a great performance. Don't really have much more. Good job. Better, above average is what I have to say.
Sure. Okay. OKK is next.
Oh, we have KK, who's another singer doing "Set Fire to the Rain" by Adele. We get a really small. We barely see her. It's like a very short thing.
We haven't seen her before, I don't think, have we?
I think she was like. I don't remember seeing her audition. I don't think we saw it. I remember she was in the group. I think with Adam Sanders. I don't know,
Okay. She's
but
just okay.
she's just okay. I'm gonna co-sign that. I think that.
I had to do that. I'm sorry. I didn't have a choice.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Moving on.
She's good. Anyway, moving on. We have a favorite in the contestant that a lot of people are liking. It's Lane Hardy. He's doing Fire Away by Chris Stapleton. What'd you think?
He's not good enough in my view.
Not good enough?
Sorry, I just don't get it. I'm quoting Britney Spears now.
Sorry, I just don't get it. You should do the face turn when she does.
I can't pull that off. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I like him as a person. Not a huge fan of that song.
I think he's good. We'll be talking about him a little bit more later in the show. He needs a little bit more work, is all I'm going to say. Yep. Moving on, we have Scotty McCreery performing Your Man by Josh Turner, doing his best impression to pretend to be Caleb Lee Hutchinson. He's also become a lot younger.
Scotty's freaking song now.
This song is Scotty's song, in my opinion. Like, anyone who does this, you're just bringing up those memories, because I remember watching
Turner song, but
it's more Scotty in my mind. Like I know it from Scotty. I remember watching Scotty's audition live. It's where I know the song from, and it's just the moment he saw that, you know what I was thinking? As soon as he finished the song, I started hearing the lyrics to "This Is My Now" in the background.
Oh, I hope not. I really hope not.
It's totally possible, though.
Oh, it is totally possible, and that's why I'm so hoping it doesn't happen.
I feel like we have our Scotty McCreery in Caleb. We have our James Durbin in Cade. We have Lauren Elena in
Gabby.
I guess. I mean, like, I'm kind of getting a retread of season 10 from this season, which is something I've like slowly started to notice more and more. And the one thing that
I'm getting more season 14 vibes, honestly.
The one thing I want to know is, who is our Haley? We'll talk about that more when we get into the spoilers, but
okay,
anyway,
continue.
We have Michael J. Woodward, who is doing Maybe This Time from Cabaret. He works at a bowling alley, and he has the backstory. He was on Majors and Minors, or one of those. He was on this old show that he actually won, and I actually thought this was one of my favorite performances of the night. I mean, when you look at him, you expect something and you get the opposite. And that is something I really, really like. He's a wild card, in my opinion.
I would agree.
I have no idea where
he's going to end up, but
what he's going to do. I mean, he could, I don't know if he could make a run for it to the win, but I see, he's a contestant I would want on my team, because he can do anything. And I feel like there's so much potential for him, honestly.
Totally agreed.
He's one of those contestants who wants to give himself. Like, he's trying to do something different, and it's something I can always appreciate in a contestant. Okay. And I'm a fan of him.
Me too.
So anyway, we move on to the cuts of the night. So we have 76 contestants, and they need to be cut down to 50. So I guess it was wrong. It wasn't 17, it was 26. Singers are broken into their 3 rooms. We have room 1, room 2, room 3. The one kind of moment that they showcase is Thaddeus is put in room 1, then he's taken out and put into room 3. But it doesn't even matter, because room 1 and room 3 are the rooms that are going through. And the only major cuts that I remember from this, of the contestants that were shown, the people who were cut were, I think, Crystal Alisea, who I think she knew was going home. I think Deontay Baker was one of them. Right? Was he?
Yeah.
It was Brandon Elder, and I think that's it of like the contestants. Everyone else made it, right?
Pretty much, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty telling, like that. if you're shown on this show, on this episode, you have like a 80% chance of moving on, even if you kind of mess up a little bit here or there.
Yep.
So that's the episode. So before we move on to the next one, who are your 3 standouts
Of that episode?
of that episode?
Well, I kind of, 1 second. I can't pick 3. I could. I mean, well, Thaddeus I liked. I forget who was on the episode because I kind of deleted my notes as I went.
Oh.
Oops. You tell me your 3 favorites, and I'll see if I agree. Katie was one of mine.
I'm gonna say Cade.
Cade. Oh, Cade. Cade is my number 1 from that episode.
I'm gonna say Cade. I'm gonna say KT. I'm gonna get those names confused a couple of times because they're so similar.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say someone who's probably not gonna be on your list, but I'm gonna say her anyway. It is Maddie Poppe.
Not on my list.
Not on your list.
Yeah, I'd say actually, it's tough. I think I put Thaddeus there.
Okay.
But again, I'm not looking at everyone who performed. So,
any final thoughts on the episode? Any? This is the end of Hollywood Week. Who knows if we're gonna get another one? This could be it. Any final thoughts on Hollywood Week?
Not my favorite round of the show, but let's keep going.
All right, so we move on to the next episode, and this is we have our top 50. They perform in front of a live audience, and at the end, they do the walk, famous walk down the American Idol
Green Mile thing.
The judges have to come up with their best way to fake out the contestants because they always have to do that. They weren't that bad, but they frame the episode that it's the day after, and it's kind of like the whole episode is lumped in 2. It's kind of done in flashbacks. Everyone's freaking out in the room because, you know, I would kind of be freaking out. Like if you're in that room,
freaking out from the very freaking beginning.
There's one thing. I'm not going to name names, but the one thing that stood out was they kept showing previews for this episode, and they would show like the contestants coming out of meeting the judges to their family, and every time a contestant, they were like crying in the in the previews, like you'd see like a Katie walking into the hall like sobbing. Like they always made it, and all the contestants who came out to their family and were smiling, they didn't, which is something that I thought it was funny. Like all the people that they wanted you to think didn't make it actually did make it. Anyway, our first contestant is Lela Springs. She's 16 years old. She has her sister Dixie. She has a story where I think her family works in a restaurant, and she says she doesn't want to work in a restaurant, and she performs Proud Mary because that makes a whole lot of sense. What did you think about it?
She has a ton of personality. She's okay. I don't think she deserves to go too much further.
I wrote down that she was very nasally in this performance, and I was confused because is she not a country singer? Because
she is.
Proud Mary, like it isn't. I mean, I guess
it's not a country song, but she's a country singer.
Anyway, I wrote down that she has a lot of energy, which is something that I feel the producers always love. She walks, she does the walk, and she gets a yes. And my full thoughts are meh.
Pretty much.
I mean, any final thoughts? I don't really have much to say.
I think she's be top 24, but no further.
I see her. I don't see her lasting.
Oh, she's not gonna.
I don't see her talent. Just isn't.
She's not gonna.
Oh, I'm sorry. Save that for the end. Let's not do that.
I was kidding.
All right, so we have our next.
I meant that for real.
We have our next contestant. It's Michael Woodward once again. Impressing me again. I didn't expect this. He's doing "You Ought to Know" by Alanis Morissette, which is another song that I actually really love. And
I love the song, but I didn't think it was perfect for him. I think it was better on the Sunday episode.
I mean, at least, like I said before, he's risking. He's willing to
Again, I'll commend him for taking risks. I don't think this one paid off for me.
I just have the word risk circled over and over on my notes.
You have risk over and over is what you wrote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Circled. I mean, I agree there were parts that were a little bit wobbly and a little bit shaky, but I feel as a whole it was deserving. He definitely deserved. I would definitely send him through to my top 24. Any final thoughts on Michael?
Nope. So we're going through who gets yeses as we go, right?
Yeah, just for this episode, like if they made it into the top 24.
I know.
All right. Next up, we have Trevor Holmes. And in my opinion, the third contestant called up to these Green Miles are always cuts. Like it's you never want to go third, in my opinion. He does Slow Hands by Niall Horan. He's a construction worker. He has this whole story with Katy Perry. It's a love triangle. Which is weird because he has a girlfriend. I feel like the producers knew that this is a story that's only going to run. Like once you take the story out and you focus on his singing, he's a weak singer, mediocre at best, and he's like an easy boot, and they kind of just wanted to end that right here.
Yep.
So he gets a no, and he's another contestant that I wrote down. I'm amazed he's still here.
Me too.
They only really kept him for the story with Katy, and now that it's ended, there's not much more use to him. Moving on, we have our next contestant. It's Gabby Barrett. She has a story where she was given she was told not to do Carrie Underwood songs, and she says, screw it, I'm going to do Carrie Underwood anyway. She does Church Bells. I think it's really, really not smart to be going against the producers so early, because that means she can easily be buried, I feel.
Yep.
She gets through.
She has a great voice.
She definitely has
a great voice.
She has talent. I just feel like there's a time and a place to go against the producers and the narrative they're trying to push. And I feel like, again, like I mentioned before, I feel like she's boxing herself. She's putting herself in a box where if you want to just go country on this show, I feel like you're going to lose to someone else who's the token country contestant, I feel. Any final thoughts on her?
Nope.
Oh, I just wrote down just my final thoughts. She in my opinion is the reverse Michael J. Woodward. Like Michael J. Woodward is all about risk, and Gabby is
all about being safe.
Yeah, she's like Michael, like she's dropping pop for country, and like she's just closing off that door, which I don't know. Next we have Thaddeus Johnson. He's performing "Hate on Me" by Jill Scott. He was cut in this exact same spot in season 9, which, oh my God, to be cut in the same spot, because he is cut just shy of the top 24.
Robbed. Hashtag robbed.
I feel like the poor guy's going to have PTSD from this. Like, I would never want to do.
Well, you know what? The good news is he can walk out with his head held high because he deserves to be in that top 24.
Do you think we'll see him again?
If he's smart, he'll do something else. Go on a show.
Never go on this show again.
If he's smart, he'll go on a show that values him. Clearly.
He's really talented, and I feel like he deserves it over like
a lot of these people.
Poor guy. I feel bad for him, but he is a no. And it moves on to our next contestant, who is Michelle Susat. She's doing 24 Karat Magic by Bruno Mars. She's doing another high-end, high-performance, high-energy performance. And I wrote down on my notes, why doesn't she do any slow songs ever?
I wrote the song choice wasn't perfect for her, but she is undeniably talented. And I think if she does, here's my theory: she's saving the ballad to bring out as a surprise moment. Hopefully
what if she never does?
Well, she will, but assuming she isn't cut before she can. That's my theory.
I feel like if she's on your team, what do you do with her? Like, what's your game plan to help her win?
I wait till just the moment where she's possibly on the chopping block.
I'd say that's probably like the first top 24 week. I feel she's on the chopping block because she's a contestant that's going to pick like a fast song that's going to be performed first in the set list, and then she's just gone. Like, I feel like next round is make or break for her, because she's either going to continue to be this like high energy, which is great. I like these kind of contestants, but I feel like it's like reverse Pia Toscano. If you're always going to do ballads week after week, you need to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I agree.
But anyway,
she needs to pull something out of the bag. But she could surprise everyone if she plays it smart.
We saw the spoilers that she makes the top 24, and the one thing that I kept thinking is, I didn't get her from her audition, and I kept waiting for the moment where I'm like, this is why she's earned her spot into the top 24. And I feel like I haven't seen it.
She hasn't had a specific moment, but overall as an artist, I think she's earned her spot.
But I feel like now that she is in the top 24, she is at the bottom and she should be in like survival mode where she needs to.
Totally agree.
All right. Anyway, we get our montage of a bunch of contestants who all advance. We get Dominique. What do you think about Dominique? I know we didn't see his performance, but like have we seen that much of him, or is he just total fodder?
I don't remember any of the people in the montages, so
I remember one of them. Anyway, he's through, but I feel like he's total fodder, right?
Yeah.
Trevor McBain. I remember he has the beard, he has the hat. Another fodder, right?
Yeah.
Maddie Poppy, who I totally didn't like that they montaged her. She apparently sang a rendition of Me and Bobby McGee that apparently people who were in the audience really liked.
What do you think? What do you think? Oh yeah, Me and Bobby McGee. Again, I never saw what Crystal Bauer Fox did.
We never saw it. I don't think. Did we see any of it?
We didn't. Okay.
So I don't know, but I'm all in on Maddie. Next on we have Ron Boltanges. He's another yes.
How?
I don't know how he made it. I mean, honestly, I feel like we montaged him, but we cut Thaddeus, and like
that
we have Dominique.
The fact that 1 minute threw over Thaddeus is a crime. Okay,
I feel like
moving on.
The montage is a way to hide the fodder contestants a little bit. Hopefully, not all the fodder contestants.
Okay.
We have Alyssa Ragu, who was the Disney girl from the episode where they were pimping her up as the Disney girl. She is the Disney girl. She's, I think, got one of the most. Her video has went the most viral of all the contestants, I think. Which is again weird that they're montaging her, but I mean, maybe she could do something good. And now we get into our next contestant. It's one of my favorites. It's Katy Turner. She's doing "Bad Romance" by Lady Gaga. I want to throw it over to you first. What do you think?
Poor song choice. Didn't show off her potential. But I've seen enough good stuff from her before, but I'm glad she made it.
I wrote that I for my notes. I just wrote what? like why are you doing this, Katy? Like don't do that. Don't go down that road. You're going down a path we can't follow.
Yeah.
I wrote that but even though it's not a good performance, which by the way I hope isn't indicative of how the rest of her Idol run on the show is going to be, at least she's willing to take the risk, and that is something I can definitely appreciate of her. At least she's trying to do something different. She's original and she's weird, but she's good, and she reminds me of. Do you remember Hee Jun Han from American Idol?
I think the better comparison is Joey Cook, actually.
I don't know about Joey Cook. I feel like
that's a better comparison.
Her story is her personality, and once you take away the personality and you're just focusing on the performances, that's where you can run into trouble.
I think Joey Cook was very similar, honestly, but okay.
I mean, I'm just trying to. I have notes that I can't even read. A lot of things. Something that I want to bring up, which this isn't going to be the most popular thing to discuss, but a lot of people that I've been seeing online are calling her shtick fake. Do you think it is?
I think it's if she was fake, she wouldn't say the stuff she says.
I mean, I buy it. I think this is just how she is, and she is this like crazy cool person.
Yeah.
So I'm more inclined on that.
This is her. I don't think it's fake.
But again, like I mentioned earlier, I really like this, but there is a narrative going for her that very, very easily can be totally flipped, and they could cut her right there. Like I feel like she's one performance away from being in like a bad situation is what I'm trying to say. But regardless, they do a whole fake out with her. They do a commercial break. She is going through, and it leads into our cutting montage of people who didn't make it. We get Milo Sposato, who, again, I'm like, how are you still here? How did you get here?
Well, we have to sit through him again. Continue. Next.
We didn't see him. We had Les Green, who I think I remember liking in like the group audition, but we barely saw her. Brittany Holmes, we're never going to see her again. She's 28, and God knows if the show's even going to be renewed. I kind of expected her to make it. I
Based on the
because
fact that she got the viewer vote, I kind of expected that too.
I kind of expected it just because she did get the viewer vote, and I feel like. So what was the whole point of it? Like
there wasn't one. Next,
we have William Casanova, who I think he was the shoe salesman who he sold shoes at a shoe store. It's a tongue twister, and to women. And I mean, I don't really remember him that much, so no real loss him. Next up, we have Journey Siani, who's just Journey. She was on American Idol 15. She was cut in Hollywood Week. She performs "Never Enough" by Lauren Allred, and I'm always happy when a returning contestant makes it to the top 24, and she does make it to the top 24. What I was thinking when I was watching her is she's very pure, and it's very genuine, and I appreciate that. She has her wife come in to watch a performance. She's cheering in the audience. It was this really happy moment. I'm happy for her, but I can't see her winning. Like, I'm happy for her, but like
she's Sonic Evade 2.0.
Yeah, she's like in a bubble that I feel like is unfair that she's been put in, but like I feel like she is right now competing for top 5. Like top 5. If she makes it into the top 5, that is a huge accomplishment for her that I feel, because I just feel like there's a lot going against her.
I would agree.
But I'm digging
I like her. I do like her a lot.
And it moves on to our unless you have any final thoughts on her before we move on.
I already gave my thoughts on her earlier.
We have Shannon O'Hara, who does Unconditionally by Katy Perry. I feel like we've only seen like bits and pieces of her here or there. She says she has a story where they're selling her house to pay for her father. Her father is having some medical problems, and they need to use the money to take care of him. And she's basically like saying how this is it for her. Like she needs this to work out. And once again, I wrote, don't put all your eggs on American Idol.
Definitely not. Okay.
I mean, she's a talented singer. No way she doesn't win.
Not good enough to go for the top 10.
I don't see her winning at all, but like it was a pretty good performance. Yeah. But like I don't see her going much further. I honestly, she would be one of the contestants that I maybe would have considered cutting for some other people.
Same here.
But good for her. We get a montage of more contestants who make it through. KK is our first one, and I was like, "What?"
What?
I was like, I think we just saw her last night,
and she was okay.
And she was montaged. Like this is the definition of being a fodder contestant. Like
I would agree.
She performs "Broken Hearted" by Carmen, which is just
horrible song choice.
Did we ever hear a new song from those people? Like
I don't think we've heard anything from since. Okay.
I wrote down in my notes, I was like, what happened to that group? We never heard from them again. That was like, was it 2011?
I don't even know. It was a while ago.
It was a long time ago. I wrote down why is she in the top 24? But she's a fodder contestant. She's doomed to be a cut pretty early, I feel. Next up we have, moving on, is Amelia Harris. I would have liked to see her performance. I mean, she's one of the contestants I would want on my team if this was The Voice, because I feel like there's a lot that can be done with her. She's not picking the right songs, but with the right songs, she could be incredible, is what I feel.
Sure.
We don't see her performance, so there's not really much to go off of. And next we have is Brandon Diaz, who is the X Factor alumni contestant.
I liked him a lot more. He deserved to. I wish I could see more of him.
I wrote montage to hell.
Yep.
Did we see anything from him like in Hollywood Week?
We saw
he's always there.
His audition was great.
What?
His audition was great, and that's what I'm annoyed by it.
I thought he's like really a talented person, and we never see anything from him.
Yep.
Which I mean is a little bit telling. I feel like the montages are not a good thing. You never want to be montaged. But anyway, we move on to Noah Davis. He's the next contestant who isn't in a montage. He's doing You and I by Lady Gaga. And I wrote I could tell that he's struggling with this song throughout the performance. The high notes got a little bit rough.
Bye, Noah.
He gets a no.
Hardly knew you.
I mean, I don't like to leave on like a sour note, but like I think he's definitely talented.
He's a nice, genuine person.
I think we'll see him again. I completely see him again next season. Like I think if he comes back, I feel like he could make a run for the top 24. I don't know if he'll make the top 14, but I feel like he could come back. Either he'll come back and he'll go to the top 24, or he'll be like Skylar Dixon, who's just cut unceremoniously in Hollywood Week after like building this up. Like, this is my redemption arc. And then he's just cut in like the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Poor kid.
Okay.
Anyway, we have a cut montage, people who don't make it. Victoria McQueen, she was the Idol baby. I think we barely saw her. So, I mean, we get to Harper Grace, which I wrote. I liked her. She was good. But I feel like we'll see Harper and maybe Victoria again. Other people cut are Carly Mofa, who I wrote. Who? Did we see her at all?
I don't remember her.
I wrote down. I don't know. Simotheus, who I remember his audition and nothing else. But so okay. And Lee Vossi, who is another contestant that
I don't remember any of those people. Sorry.
Next up is in my opinion, one of the highlights of the episode. It's Adam Sanders, who decides to make the walk as Adam Sanders and not as his drag queen persona. He performs "Creep" by Radiohead, and the one thing that I noticed is there were it wasn't a perfect performance. There was definitely some moments that were a little bit shaky, especially in the transitions. But I think he has an absolutely incredible voice.
Totally.
I think it needs some more control. I think.
Here's my thing.
Go on.
I think Adam/Ala is probably my favorite contestant of the season, honestly. Because what I'm looking for at this point is someone who can fill a niche that isn't already being filled. And we don't have any drag queens on the radio. And Ada has an amazing voice, talented, redemption arc, because should have made it further back in season 12.
No, he shouldn't have made it but further. I think he got cut at exactly the right time in season 12. He totally flubbed his performance.
I forget what happened in season 12.
He's saying, I don't know why I remember this. It was Taking Chances by Celine Dion in the last round of Hollywood Week. He was one of the contestants who they asked, I think, to perform again, and he totally choked. Like, it was not good.
Okay.
So I wrote that what got him cut was he lacks that control, and I feel like it needs to be reined in. And I feel like for someone, he reminds me of, remember, just his voice. Like, remember Serena Joy Crow, who was such a good singer, and they dinged her over the stupidest things. Like, that's what I feel is going to happen. Like, they're going to ding him on, like, you weren't perfect, but they're going to give other singers passes. Like, he is now going to be held to a standard that is going to be almost impossible for him to keep up with, because I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. I wrote.
I mean, I have no expectations for Adam or Ada to win. I do hope he makes it far. I do.
I wrote, like I said with some of the other contestants, this is a narrative that can very easily be flipped on him.
Oh, it will be.
He's taken it very seriously now, but I feel like he is not expected to win by the producers. And if they start seeing him as a threat, they will flip that narrative. And he is, I don't like to say it, but he's bordering on a joke contestant.
No,
he isn't. No, he isn't now. But they can easily make him into one and have people not take him seriously. And that's why, in my opinion, I would honestly perform more as himself and not as the drag persona, just because I'm worried that narrative can easily be flipped on him. They can easily turn him into a joke contestant and say he's not perfect, and Johnny Brenz is doing a really good job, even though he's having shaky moments. Do you know what I'm saying a little bit?
I understand what you're saying, but I disagree.
Okay. We'll see.
I feel like as Adam, he doesn't feel a niche. He doesn't. As Adam, he's just like another Adam Lambert wannabe.
I'm going to say this, and it's a little controversial. I feel he was only brought back because he performed in drag. I feel like, which...
and he has a great voice.
He has a fantastic voice, but I feel like he was brought back to be the drag queen because the producers wanted, like, we have the rocker, we have the country boy, we need the drag queen. Like, it's...
Okay.
Anyway.
I disagree, but let's continue.
Moving on, we have Johnny Brens. He's doing Lay Me Down by Sam Smith. I wrote down wobbly, but he always was wobbly like in his performance. But there were some strong moments. He gets a standing ovation, which something that stood out to me was a lot of the contestants get standing ovations. Yeah. And I feel like he has talent, and I think there's like he's one of the contestants that I think could win. And I feel like with the right run, I would be okay with it. I feel like he needs a coach. He needs someone who like is going to tell him, don't do this, don't do that. And he might be one of the chosen one.
Hope not.
Just going to say it. Really?
Hope not.
I wrote down he could win. Anyway, he gets a yes. He's going through. I'm actually not that bad. I'm not that low on him. I think I
am pretty low on him. Right.
Anyway, we have Mara Justine doing Something's Got a Hold on Me.
My favorite girl by a mile.
Once she performed this song, I instantly flashed back to watching
Carly Rose
Soniclair performing this song on The X Factor. And instantly I'm like, that's who she is. Like, she's the child prodigy on the show. That's her role. And I feel like I wrote down, she's a force. It's so weird for me because I was actually going through my old articles on MJ, and I found articles where I was talking about Mara Justine, and I was so low on her on that show. And right now she is in my top 3, which is just,
she's in my top 2,
which is just so insane. I feel like give her like a slow song. Like, this was a little bit, there was too much choreography in this performance, but like give her like Gravity by Sarah Bareilles and like just watch the magic happen. Like, I feel
she has an incredible voice. She has a boatload of personality, and I think if a girl's gonna win, I hope it's her.
I think it's so weird that we're championing her.
But you know what? It's weird, but I'm really happy about it because I don't like hating people.
All right, I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Your top 2 is going to be, well, we'll save this, but I feel like Mara is probably going to go very deep and be the runner-up. Like, I see her, she's like perfectly going to be the runner-up. Like, I see her at the end, like crying in like the dress, and she's standing next to someone else who's definitely going to be the white guy with guitar chosen one. And it's going to be the other person.
Honestly, if it's Mara and spoiler Kate in my top 2, I'll be happy.
Anyway, so we'll talk about a little bit more about her in the spoiler section. Next up, we have Caleb Lee Hutchinson, and I just wrote down for my notes, I've seen what this run is going to look like. I've seen this on so many shows of what the Country Boy is going to do. The judges call him a star, and I don't really get it. I mean,
never do I.
I know what he is. He is our country boy this season. We have our rocker. He is our Scotty McCreery of the season, and he's one of the threats to win. Like, I feel like he could. I don't know.
Don't jinx it, please don't.
Right. Anyway, he gets a yes. Any thoughts on him that you want to share?
This performance was better than I thought he would do, but he's still not my thing at all. Yeah, no.
All right. Next up, we have Lane Hardy and Garrett Jacobs. They make the walk together. Lane does the Ballad of Curtis Bow, I think was what it was, and Garrett does Knock on Wood. Honestly, I would have put both of these people through.
What?
Yeah, I probably would have put both of these through. I mean,
I would have sent both of them home.
Who would? Yeah, all right. You send them home, but who's making it in their place?
Thaddeus.
Okay, Thaddeus, but in my opinion, I would have cut like Ron. I would have cut like Dominique.
Oh, there are a lot of people I would cut. I mean, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, screw it. Let them through. I don't care. They should both be fodder at the least, though.
I mean,
I don't get how Garrett is considered a front runner. I don't. I'm sorry.
I think he is a front runner. I honestly think he's a front runner.
I think he is. I don't get why.
He checks off the marks. Is why. It's because he fits.
He's a checklist idol. He's not an actual idol.
All right, that's fair. Anyway, we move on to who I think is another threat to win, which is so ironic because we didn't see his audition. It's Cade Foner. He's doing No Good by, I don't know how to pronounce Kiello. I don't know. I wrote down he's our rock dude. He fits into the role of our rock contestant. I'm a fan of his. He gets a standing ovation, and he's going through. What'd you think?
I love him. Great voice, great presence. He's in my top 3 with Mara and Ada.
He's a lot of fun. Like, I feel like he's not James Durbin. He's not Chris Daughtry. He's
his own kind of rocker, which is he's similar, but he's distinct enough that I like him.
I hope they don't shoehorn him into, like, he has the look a little bit of like an 80s rocker, and I hope they don't
make him more modern. That's the thing they have to do.
That's the one thing. The thing is I think he's talented, but in his post-show marketability, I'm not
told yet, but I think
I'm not sold. Like I was going back to what I said earlier in the show about the marks of what makes the perfect idol contestant. He's crossing out 3 of them for me, which is most than others who like get 2. So anyway. Next up we have Maddie Zom and Effie Pissarro. They go down the walk together. I hate when they do these. They both seem like really nice, like genuine people.
Yeah, nice people. But Maddie's song choice was horrible.
Yeah, she does "What About Us" by Pink. Effie does "The Dance" by Garth Brooks. Effie gets a standing ovation, which is telling right there. Like if you're going to do the walk together and one of them got a standing ovation, which is actually not true because some of the contestants who got standing ovations didn't get through in this episode, which is like, which is just ruins the meaning of a standing ovation. But anyway, I wrote down I would have picked Effie, and she seems like a sweet girl, and I'm right. Effie goes through, Maddie doesn't. Really? I think Maddie will be back though.
We'll see. She could come back.
Okay. So we have our final 2 contestants that go do the walk together. It's Marcia Donaldson and Dennis Lorenzo. And I wrote down this is the battle of the sob stories. Like each one is competing with how much worse their life is, which is awful, but that's really what this was. Like that's what the show is framing it. But I just want to throw it to you with without saying anything about spoilers. Like you get to pick one of these 2. You are Katy Perry, and you get to pick one of these 2, and you only pick one. Who do you go with?
Dennis.
Yep, me too. I wrote down Dennis. I would pick Dennis of these 2.
No crap. I mean, I think Marcio's performance was kind of karaoke in my view, honestly, and Thaddeus was a lot better. I think Marcio made it over Thaddeus, and that's a crime. And Dennis, I liked a lot. I wasn't blown away by, but I liked it. And overall, for the trajectory of the season, he's had a couple of great performances, so he can go through.
Do you think Dennis makes top 5?
I say he's a shot.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I think he definitely has a shot.
All right. So in the end, both contestants end up going through. It's this whole moment, and that is actually the end of the episode. So we're not going to touch on spoilers quite yet. I want to just talk about this episode. Who in the top 24 are your?
Let's go 3.
Just on this episode and what you saw in this episode. Who are your top 5?
Top 5. Okay.
Just off this episode, like nothing else. Just
not even talking about past episodes.
Yep, just this.
Okay, based on this episode alone, well, I know that my top 3 in general were also in this episode. Cade, Ada, and Mara.
Okay.
And the other 2. That's the hard part.
Say Katie. Just do it.
I'm not saying Katie in this episode.
Hey, Michael.
I don't know.
You know what? Let's just cut it at 3.
Yeah, let's cut it at 3. That's easier because I can say those 3 I like a lot.
I'm going to concur with you. I'm going to say Adam or Ada, Mara, and Cade. It's weird. I'm like getting into this show. Like now we have a season. This is our game.
I have at least 3 contestants that I'm really rooting for, and those are the 3. And then there are lots of others that I actually do like, but aren't rooting for as much.
So next week is the top 24 week, but sticking around with just the Hollywood week and the Green Mile, I wanted to ask, from all the contestants that you've seen that were cut, who do you want to see again next season?
Who do I want to win?
Who do you want to see again next season?
Oh, next season. Who were cut? Well, Thaddeus, obviously, but other than that,
I don't think he's going to be back ever.
I don't think he will be either. But
He's a young guy though. He's like only 21 or something. I think he could be back if he wants to, or is he 23? It's funny. Like usually I have like these contestants that I'm like I want to see them again, and the only one that I could think of a little bit is Harper. Like,
okay.
Like no one else really. Anyway, so any final thoughts on the episode?
Nope.
All right, so I want to throw this out there. This is yours. Oh, wait, no spoilers, no spoilers. Before we get to the spoilers, my name is Adam Samuel. You could follow me on Twitter at Adam Soapbox. I have my personal website, adamssoapbox.blog, and I have adamstvblog.wordpress.com. This is Adam's TV Podcast. You could follow me wherever. If you're watching this video, you could probably find both of our Twitter links in the descriptions below. Eric, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Thoughts.ericascher.com. I'll post all of my notes that I took to prepare for this episode.
I thought you deleted them.
I already saved them as a draft on the blog.
Oh, okay.
I deleted them from here. Yeah. After we're done, I'm gonna put it live on my blog, thoughts.ericascher.com. Follow me on Twitter, Eric_Ascher, and that's basically all my notes. And be sure to subscribe to Adam's channel. We're up to 6. We need to get more than that.
If we get up to 10, we should throw a party.
I don't know. I'm not going to commit to anything, but sure.
Anyway, so I just some last minute things that I want to talk about. So next week we are going to be live once again on Tuesday at probably 7.
7 makes sense.
We also have an additional podcast that we're planning. We don't have a date yet, but it should be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometime there. We're going to be doing our draft, because after next week, we're going to have our top 14, which is where the spoilers end. And we are going to make 2 teams of 7. And it's just going to be for fun. I'm really excited. Any final thoughts? Any last things before we go on to spoilers?
Well, for the draft, it's not going to be fair because we both have the same top 3. So
we'll go back and forth.
One of us is going to lose. We're gonna flip a coin and see who goes first, because that's really the hard part.
I'm going to win, though.
If you win the coin flip, you're going to win.
No, I'm going to win the draft.
Go ahead.
All right. Anyway, this is your spoiler warning. If you don't want
spoiler warning,
if you don't want to be spoiled, this is your warning to leave. So we have our top 24, and honestly, I could probably have guessed the top 14, most of the top 14, just off of the narrative. I mean, with some exceptions. I mean,
I think I know your exception.
Michelle Susat, I don't understand how she made it.
The exception.
I would have said someone else. I would have said probably Amelia over Michelle. But
I think Michelle has potential. I think she could. I still think she does. But yeah. Basically, all my 3 favorites are in my top 14. I'm good. I'm happy.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction right here.
Go ahead.
The final 2 is gonna be Mara Justine and one of either Johnny Brenz, Garrett Jacobs, or Kate Foner. That is going to be your top 2.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping that it's Kate and Mara, but that would make me happy at least, because that would be good. That would be a good finale.
I mean,
that would make it the American Idol finale instead of the American Idol finally.
Let's just go over the top 14 really quickly. So here are the contestants that made it past the top 24 and are now in the top 14. We have Adam Sanders, who is out of AdaVox. Totally understand it. Once again, I do worry about him a little bit later on in the competition, but right now I feel he's going pretty good. He's going strong.
Agreed.
Next, we have Kate Foner.
Yep.
Honestly, a winner potential.
Definitely.
I don't know about his success post-show, but right now I think he's a real shot at this. So total shot. So we have Cade. Now we have Caleb Hutchinson, who we haven't really talked about, but another winner pick. He is our country boy. We have each next. If you go through the contestants, you can see that each one kind of fits into the narrative. Like you have Adam is the drag queen, Cade is the rocker, Caleb is the country boy, Katy Turner, who is the next person to make it, is like the quirky girl. And yes, Katy is here. Katy has made it into the top 14. Super happy for her, but once again, her narrative can easily be flipped on her.
Yep. Hope it doesn't happen.
Next,
Dennis Lorenzo.
Gabby Barrett. Don't understand how Gabby made it.
Neither do I.
Garrett Jacobs.
Don't understand that one.
Johnny Brenz, who of the white guy with guitars, like between him and Garrett, I think Johnny's better.
But Kate is better than both of them.
But Kate is better than both of them. But that doesn't mean they aren't bad. Like, I hate that in comparison, like they're all very talented in their own rights. But because this is a competition of comparison, I think Cade and Caleb are the two at the top. But anyway, next we have Journey, Siani.
Happy for her.
Happy for her. Next is Maddie Pope, who I'm really
Maddie
happy
Poppy.
about.
Maddie Poppy.
I'm going to keep doing that. It's Maddie Poppy, but I'm sorry. Super
I would have done
hyped
that
about
too.
her.
I would have said Pope if I looked at her name.
All right. Mara Justine.
Yay.
Front runner. Potential winner. Potential final two finisher.
Yeah.
Marcia Donaldson.
Eh.
I feel like I would have maybe cut him in the top 24 and brought someone else. But next is Michael Woodward, who I'm excited about. He's our wild card this season.
Yep. He could either crash and burn or it could go really far.
Next up is Michelle Susat, who good for her, but still don't get it. So
I think she's honestly the wild card. She could crash and burn or she could really surprise all of us.
So this next round, the top 14 is going to follow the format of season 15, which means that from the top 14, we're going to cut it right down to the top 10. So I'm going to throw it over to you. Who do we lose in the top? Who are the 4 contestants that we lose in the transition to top 10?
Gabby is one of them.
Yeah.
I'm
with you, Gabby.
Another.
Gabby, Marcio. Do you know the next one?
What?
You know the next one?
I know the next one?
Yeah, Michelle.
No, I don't think so.
What?
I'm not sure about that.
I think she's.
I know you think that. I think she. As of now, I think you're right, but I think she has potential. And if she pulls out a shock, great performance, she could make it to the top 10.
All right, I'm gonna say the 4 are Marcio, Michelle, Gabby, and my eyes are going to Journey, but I don't want to say Journey. I'm gonna say Garrett. It's gonna be Garrett, Marcio, Michelle, and
Gabby.
Gabby. Do you agree?
We'll see. It's honestly tough to call it, tough to say at this point.
All right, next question.
Performance for everyone to make the decision.
Who's your top 5?
Okay, this is easy. Well, I'll do it in no particular order from the top 2. The top 3: Adam, Cade, Mara.
Say Maddie.
Katy. Katy and Journey.
I don't see Katy making the top 5. I feel like by then
my personal top 5.
Oh.
I hope for this top 5. Who I think is going to be in the top 5? All the white guys with guitars.
My prediction for the top 5. This is going to be who I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Mara, Cade, Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3. I feel like Journey is going to be the Sonica. I'm going to say Journey. And the last one is either, I don't know.
Johnny.
Did I say Adam?
Oh, you did not say Adam.
So I said Cade, Caleb, Journey, Mara. The last one's going to be, it's between Adam Sanders, unless they
bust him
quicker. Maddie. I would love to see Maddie have a breakout performance. Or I'm going to say those 2. It's either going to be Maddie or Adam.
I don't think I'm not sure, but we'll see.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Nope. See you all next Tuesday.
All right. Thank you guys all for joining us. We are super excited. Now is when the show finally gets interesting because now we are.
This is the good part of the show.
The stories are taken out, and now it's just go out and sing. And I'm finally hyped. I'm digging it.
Me too.
And I want to say thank you guys all for joining us. Until next week. Peace out.
See you all next Tuesday.